Here we go. Okay, so today we have our special guest here. We got Gene Calvetta from Remax Innovation Real Estate Office. And we
Hello.
also have Casey Klein from the #1 mortgage lender, UWM. So, Gene, we want you to start out with, if you can give us a little bit of a market update. What are you hearing? What are you dealing with people looking to buy homes and also sell homes? What are you seeing in your marketplace?
Um, Inventory is still really tight. There's still a lot of buyers out there. In fact, here's a really funny story. On Saturday, I guess all the open houses were on Saturday because the Super Bowl was Sunday. And I had clients set up to look at 3 different houses, this one client. So we started up in Old Bridge and we wound up in Howell. And the first house we went to, it was a revolving door. People were in and out of that. And the second house we went to in Union Beach, very surprising. It reminded me of COVID, the pandemic. People lined up outside waiting to get into this house. It was really crazy. It took us a half an hour just to wait to get to the front door to get in. And then the third house we went to again was an open house and revolving door, people in and out. So people are out there looking. Um, the buyers are plenty, housing inventory not enough. So as a buyer, you definitely want to make sure that, you have your contracts positioned so you look best as you can on paper.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come up with maybe some solutions or helpful hints to help the people listening to this. But first, I want to introduce once again Casey Klein. Casey, you and I have worked with and overcome some of these obstacles to help some of these buyers. I mean, a lot of buyers out there right now are first-time buyers. Gene and Casey, would you both agree?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I would say a large majority are first-time home buyers that definitely need some education on some of the options that are out there for them.
Okay, well, in working with Jean for quite some time here, she definitely has the passion and the desire to help people. I mean, definitely, it's one of her strong characteristics, and she's absolutely open-minded and willing to help the first-time buyer. And I don't find that in all realtors that I deal with. So she's pretty versed on the different opportunities. But Casey, at UWM, you have more than just a few opportunities for first-time buyers. Can you just touch upon that a little bit? I mean, you and I have worked on quite a few of the options, but just touch on that a little bit for us, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Recently, I would say in the last year, a big focus of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have been to help the first-time home buyers, and some of the unique programs that we have recently had the chance to work together on is the Home Ready First program, especially that's largely available in New Jersey. Where they can get up to a $5,000 grant. It's a little bit unique of a program where it depends on where they're currently living, not where they're buying. So that's a little bit unique, but it's a lot of borrowers are eligible in the area, as well as the 1% down program, also largely available in New Jersey for the borrowers. Those two are very, very popular.
And a lot of these first-time buyer programs, we really have to have the conversation with them, because not only is it called the first-time buyer program, but not necessarily do they have to be first-time buyers to get into some of these first-time buyer opportunities. And sometimes only one person has to be a first-time buyer, and sometimes the Home Ready program or Home Possible could be open to a person who's not even a first-time buyer. They've already owned a home. Gene, you and I have worked with some of the local grants in the different counties that we've worked with: Ocean County, Monmouth County, Burlington County, and then we've also worked with the state program. But there's sometimes some pushback or objections to that. So elaborate a little bit on that, what you're confronted with.
Well, I have a client right now that's trying to do a grant, or so he thinks. He does have the money to go FHA, but I have done grants in the past in different markets, and realtors have to be educated enough to explain the market to their buyers and try to come up with solutions that'll best suit them. Because in this market where there's a ton of buyers and not a lot of inventory, sellers are getting multiple offers, and people are even going over list price if it's priced right. So if a buyer has the type of grant that has the double underwriting, you know how that goes when it goes back to the state, that's going to take time, and a seller might not want to wait, or they might not feel that they're going to qualify. And then that when it goes back to the state, now they're looking at any medical collections and things like that that might come up that they'll have to pay off. So I think they need to be educated right from the get-go on the different types of programs that's out there. And I know you do grants that don't have that double underwriting, correct?
That is correct. And one of the things that Casey mentioned is the Freddie Mac and the Fannie Mae. One of the unique things or nice things in dealing with their opportunities is that there is no double underwrite. And not only that, you mentioned timeframes. With Casey, his company, UWM, we can actually close from the time that the application is started. We can close on the transaction. Now, we're talking about a person who's been already pre-qualified, pre-approved right up front, but we can actually close the transaction easily 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, Casey, really 2 weeks, we could button up a file from start to finish, but we'll give a window of 2 to 3 weeks. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I would think that's absolutely fair. You know, last month, looking at our averages of almost 30,000 loans that we brought in, it was about 15 days was from submission to close on average for purchases.
All right, so time being of the essence and urgency for some of these sellers, they don't want to be hung up. I mean, we can actually, in your process that we use frequently called Bolt, we actually can get them fully processed or upfront underwritten, and then also put them into contract with Gene's help, and then have them close within 15 days. Is that correct? I mean, we could go to an open house on any given day, get the information needed from the borrower, put them into the process known as Bolt, have it reviewed by underwriting. Typically that same day, Gene gets them into contract, they get them out of attorney review, and we can close them in like 15 days, correct?
Correct. Yep, absolutely. It's a fully verified approval in the matter of usually you get it within an hour.
You
Gene,
just need an appraisal, correct, Casey?
We don't even need the appraisal to give the fully verified approval. Yep, well, that'll be a condition.
and Gene,
Okay.
that would be helpful from what you're dealing with in your marketplace. Speed is actually essential. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And especially being that they're totally underwritten and approved, that is a definite plus for a lot of buyers.
Okay. Now,
Absolutely.
in these first-time buyer programs, there are opportunities for 100% financing. The VA is offering 100% financing. USDA is another product, but there actually is another opportunity out there for FHA with 100% financing. And all of these could be negotiated with the buyer and the seller in the process of going into contract, that a buyer really could buy a home with little to next to no money at all, if the contract was negotiated in such a fashion. So could that open up some doors for some buyers as well, Gene?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, I'd like to see, is there anything else that we should touch upon right now with either opportunities or obstacles? Casey or Gene, what else should we mention right now?
Yeah, I would say real quick, the biggest thing is the education for the loan officer, for the realtor. You know, things are changing by the day. I mean, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, like I said, has a huge focus on this. And, you know, the Home Ready First program was a recent change they made. You know, every day it seems like they're either tweaking the guidelines, adding new opportunities, new cities that are eligible for these programs. So definitely making sure you're reaching out to Gary and your local loan officers to make sure you're on top of these options, you know, and staying competitive in the market.
And Gene, would it be okay with you, our audience that's going to be listening to this, that they can call you and get more information from you as to the opportunities that you can present to them?
Absolutely. I love to sit down with people and educate them because really I try to do that throughout the whole process with them. So they're not afraid, because you and I and Casey, we all do this every day. We kind of know what it is and we're not nervous about each step, but it's a lot when you're taking money out, or if you're comfortable with a rental payment, now you're going to a mortgage payment. A lot of people are scared and nervous, and then they're worried about packing. I mean, there's a lot to the whole moving process. So I definitely try to make it more comfortable for them as they go along.
All right, and I think that you and I both welcome face-to-face meetings. We don't just have to meet with people on Zoom. It's a great opportunity to use Zoom, but we like to meet with our families face-to-face and answer their questions and build that relationship with them. Is that correct with you?
Well, I actually have buyer packets that I give people out. So I give them the information to take home and, reread. We go through it, but they're going to have questions because I know that's me too. I need to write things down and then I have to review them. So if there's a lot of people out there like me, they're going to need to review it, and they can call me and ask me questions afterwards as well.
Okay. Well, as we've mentioned, don't hesitate to reach back out to us, and we're more than happy to answer questions, provide information, and we're looking forward to that happening. So everybody, just have a great day and thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Sounds good.
Take care.